Hi, this is Ronald Johnson, your life coach, mentor coach. And what I do is I help people that are tired of who they are and where they are in life.
And this is Gloria, your life coach. I help those who are feeling stuck, struggling with difficulties such as self doubt, inner judgment, lack of confidence, life transitions, and taking steps forward.
And welcome to Life's a Shuffle podcast. Now, you may wonder why it's called Life's a Shuffle. And the reason why we came up with this title is that life is really shuffling. It doesn't matter where you come from, your background, what age you are, you're shuffling multiple things in life. And the best thing to know in life is everybody faces your struggles and everybody faces what you're going through. But there's hope in learning something about that. So when our guests share their journey, the hope is you learn something in that journey so yourself can navigate the struggles you face, the low self-esteem, the self-confidence, and that's why we call podcast Life's a Shuffle.
And throughout this podcast, we share our personal overcoming stories, as well as our guests who shares their personal journey in overcoming their personal struggles. Life's a Shuffle podcast is here to connect like-minded individuals.
And thank you for listening to Life's a Shuffle podcast.
Hi, this is Gloria, life coach and meditation coach. Welcome to another episode of Life's a Shuffle.
Hi, this is Ron Johnson, a mental health coach and future psychology practitioner or clinical therapist, whatever you guys want to call it out there. Welcome to another episode of Life's a Shuffle. And today's topic is going to be about friendships. When you think about friendships, you think about that's my drinking friend. You may think about, oh, that's my party friend. That's my smart friend. That's the one I can depend upon, right? Sometimes friendships fit in different silos. I don't know why, but I guess different parts of your life. And obviously when you go through a life cycle, like, if you're in your 20s and you're drinking, you're partying, over time, you may say to yourself, I don't like that anymore. And my friend still wants to go out and party and drinking, but I don't anymore. How do you end that friendship? Like, should you still go out and party because they want to and you guys are friends? What should you do? And what is the best practices? And I guess for me, I will start and talk about me. I don't have many friendships. I do have a lot of people I know and a lot of acquaintances and connect with people on different levels, but I just don't. Maybe I have two, three, really, really close friends. I don't have, different friends for different silos. I grew up on the context that the less people you have in your life, the less problems. I guess that kind of paid for it. My dad told me when I was a kid is less people in life, less problems. And I don't know. Like when I think about it, it's like, do I want more friends? I want less friends. What's my need? What's not my need? I guess I'm being logical about it. I should just be, learning about it. So, what do you think, Gloria?
Question for you though. What is friendship for you?
Friendship. To me, when I think about friendship, I think about a person or persons where you can connect, you can be
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable, you can discuss open questions, a non-judgmental zone, um, communicate, and sometimes situations where someone's offended and it could have been a simple, I said something, the person got offended. I didn't know they were offended. Communicate it. It should be almost a free flowing environment where you can just be yourself and they can be yourself. There shouldn't be judgments in a friendship. That's for sure. Leave that out the door because you don't know. And I think in a friendship too, after some experiences, most people go to a friend or friends for advice, and everybody has a different opinion about the advice. For me to be a true friend, I would never offer advice. I would offer them a different way of looking at it and have them make their own decision, right? Because 9 times out of 10, when you come to your friend for advice, you already know the answer. You're just waiting to them to agree with you, or you're waiting for them to disagree, wherever you kind of feeling. So that's my idea of friendship.
Yeah. So friendship, like I like that. I think for me, it's this it's the relationship that you have with people, right? You have this strong form of bond with them that you've created or you've started with them, and then you have that connection, that chemistry with them. And
Hmm.
this form of friendship could happen with it could just be someone you had just met, or it could be someone that you've known for a long time. Um, yeah. And then there's different types of friendships, right? There's a true one. You have like your true, what you call your true friends, and then you have your acquaintances, and then you have those who are just your friends from like different circle of friends. I
You know
think at
what?
some point I had like growing up, and when I was just really out there playing volleyball, going out, and then when I was working at corporate, I had different group of friends or different circle of friends. I have my friends from work. I had my friends from volleyball. I had friends from somewhere, but and then I have my what I call my true friends or my ride or die.
Hmm. That's interesting. Do you think acquaintances and friends belong in the same category or two separate categories?
I think two separate categories because you have your friends who you share a certain connection with. And then the acquaintance is pretty much just someone that you know from somebody, right? And then or through someone, and you only get to talk to or hang out with that person when the other person is there or is around, and that's the only time you really see that person.
Interesting. So, in a
Yeah.
friendship and acquaintance, is there a relationship that's there?
You know what? Not necessarily. I don't think there is. Not in an acquaintance. There's really no relationship there. Like for me personally, that's how I feel, and that's what I think. An acquaintance for me is just someone that I know, and when I see that person, I say hi, bye.
S-
Um, I don't really have that kind of relationship where I'm constantly talking to this person, hanging out, or texting.
Mhm. 'Cause you know
You
what? At
know.
least with a acquaintance and a friendship, I think the similarity is there's a rapport there, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
you think of acquaintance, you know a person by name or face, and you're gonna say hi, you're gonna say how you doing. There's a rapport there, right? So you would consider that acquaintance. I guess when you think about friendship, you think about a deeper level of understanding and meaning versus just a simple hi and goodbye. How are you doing? Or how's the kids and how's life?
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
And that's what I think about it.
No,
Um,
that is, I agree. That's pretty much it. And then you have your good friends.
Good friends. What kind of good friends do you have?
So for me, you talked about this in the beginning about your definition of friendship. I think my definition on that on good friends would be, those who um accept me, or those we accept each other for who we are.
Mhm.
We love and accept each other. So I think for me, it's just really should just be love and acceptance.
Love and acceptance. That's
Yeah, and
powerful.
without that, I think it's hard. It would be really hard without that. And you talked about judgment. Yes. Um, we accept each other for who we are and not judge each other. I mean, okay, sometimes I would say you can't avoid judging. That's part of it, right? It's part of life. But I think at some point, like for me, with a couple of friends, we judge each other. We judge each other in a joking way, in a funny way,
Mhm.
because we know how we are and who we are. But, when we're judging, I think we're kind of sometimes putting each other on check.
Yeah, you are. It seems like, the bigger the friendship, the more people tend to rank themselves out. Like, oh, I'm more closer to this person than that person, or me, this person closer than that person. I want to hang out with you, but I don't want to hang out with her.
Right. Hmm.
You know what that boils down to? If you think about school, you know, elementary, I think elementary, middle school, and probably high school are probably the worst, just in terms of you're just trying to figure things out. And that kid or that person that wants a friendship, it's always left out. Like I remember growing up and I wanted friends. You want to play basketball. You always last one picked. I'm like, oh man, this sucks. That's why I have friends. Or I remember I had my dad remarried, and I don't know how you call it, but it was my stepmom's sister's son. There's two people at school that didn't like. I said something to him. He went back and told them. The next day, they confronted me. Oh, I heard you talking behind my back, right? And it's like I thought we had a trust here, right? And it's like you're going through that period of trying to build trust, trying to fit in, you know, even trying to like get in a group of friends because they're popular, and then you want to maybe talk to that girl or just be fit in. Like how do like I'm thinking as a kid, like how difficult was it me to establish relationships? Because that applies now to being an adult. It was really hard for me to fit in and establish relationships with people, um, and just trying to be myself. And when I think about these experiences, it's like it was rough. Like, because if you are not deemed normal, right? Let's say, for instance, in my
Hmm.
case, I was overweight. So I'm not deemed normal because everybody is, 50 pounds less than what I weighed back then. You can't fit in. So how do you, I'm thinking about how do you gain a friendship when you're different? Like, because this can go a different way, right? So we're talking about
Yeah.
our existing friendships. How about you just trying to get a friend? And when I consider that, it's how do you do that? You look at all these hurdles. They look a certain way, act a certain way, grade a certain way. How do you fit into all that? And how does it help? Like, should you fit in? Should you not fit in? You know, I'm to the point now. It's like I'm not going to rage against the machine. I don't have any idea and want to fit in. I want to be myself, and if everybody accepts me for who I am, as I present myself, great. Let's be friends. If you want me to fit in a certain box, no, that's not going to work for me. You can be in that box. I don't want to.
As you should. You should really just, be yourself. And, there, I would say, like, there is group or circle of friends for everybody. There really is. They're out there. It's just a matter of, and what happens is we're finding it. We're looking for it. That's what's happening is we're looking for that, you know, um, and when we're looking, we think we find them, and then we try to fit in. And then we become somebody else that we're not because we're trying to fit in.
Yes.
And then
See,
you're just not happy. And a lot of the times, people surround themselves with people who will tell them what they want to hear
that's true. Just to fit in.
just to
And,
fit in.
and that's like what I'm thinking about is, here's another thing. Here's a switch. How much of it is a social identity? Like if I need to have friends and certain things are socially acceptable to have friends, is a society that deems what friends should look like and who should we socialize with?
Yeah.
How do we avoid that?
And you know what? It's harder now too because with social media. So when we're growing up, we didn't have all this social media. And look how hard it is already for some of us already trying to find friends and trying to fit in, right? So much harder now because social media tells you something else. You know, um, you have to be this way, you have to look like this way in order for you to be cool. I mean, this is what's harder for a lot of the kids nowadays, and I have noticed that, and I've been hearing that for some of the kids now, some of the youth now, how hard it is, and it's not that easy because they feel like they have to try to fit in. And as much as I tell them you don't have to and be yourself, because there you will find someone, you will find a group of friends who you can relate with. They're out there somewhere, but it's hard because what they're doing is they're looking. They're looking to see who is cool out there, and I wanna be a part of that group because they're fun, but that's not me. So it's all a learning process for a lot of the youth these days, and that's exactly what we went through. Like, for me, I've had so many friends. I grew up in the Bay Area. I've been here for most of my life, and I have built so much friendships around here. But as I've gotten older, my circle of friends have gotten smaller. As I've
What?
gotten as I've gotten older, I my perspective in life had changed.
What's changed? Like, so how you go from a plethora of friends? to now like a small group? What changed? Like, and why is
I
that
was a
okay?
social I was a social butterfly. I was a social butterfly, but I would say that I've been lucky that a lot of the friends that I have built and that a lot of the people that I have met around here growing up have accepted me for who I was.
That's they look at that, except who he was. Okay. So why did it get
Yeah,
smaller?
I mean, it got smaller because, okay, life changed. I've had, like I said, a different perspective in life because let's just say that maybe some of those friends have stayed where they are. And I maybe grown to something different or someone different to I have I just see life differently than them, right? So that's
Hmm.
when we stop connecting. I start losing that connection with certain people. And they start seeing me differently because maybe I'm going through changes in my life and I'm changing. So they're seeing me differently. They're not used to like, the Gloria that they've met once before. But people change, right?
Right.
We all grow up differently and we all, like I said, we're either in a friendship also. If you have this strong bond with someone, you're either going to grow up together in the same direction and same path, or you're not. And even if you grow up to different going separate paths or different paths, you could still be friends and kind of still be connected. So now we're talking about love and acceptance. And
Yes.
yeah, and maybe some of those friends that I've had before just could not accept the new me, right? But they're still around, they're still here, and I'm still, I would say cool. I would still be cool with them, and I still am. Um, but it's just things have changed and things are differently. I just don't do the things that they do anymore.
Yeah. So is that because so I call it the life cycle. So as your life has changed, right? All of us go through cycles in life, right?
Hmm.
At 25, you're not worried about retirement, but at 40, you are, right? That's just example of a life cycle. What was important to you at 20, right? Partying, drinking, or hanging out with friends may not be important to you at 40. Have kids, get married, whatever the case may be. And that's the difference is that as dynamics change in life, you get to see, it's like a sifter. You sift in the sand looking for something. You get to see who stays as you go through life cycles. They go through life
Hmm.
cycles, you go through life cycles. You sifting through that, see who actually stays.
Yeah.
And I think the one that stays is the one that's kind of a true friend because
Mm.
it's able to look at both how they've changed, have you changed, and we're still good versus you're changed and you're different. I don't like it. Well, then you're not accepting who I am, right? Because I go through a different life cycle, and that's totally fine. Instead of, instead of saying, "Well, you change, you're different," right? Which is we hear all the time, or just I don't so dumb. You change, you're different. Okay, tell me specifically what have changed and how am I different? Well, no, you just changed. Well, see, that's when people need to get more look at themselves as an introspection. Okay, well, if I go out and use these slangs, you change. How can I back that with facts? If you said you're different, how can I back that with facts? Because the other person may say, well, how am I different? Help me understand it. What has changed? And then you're sitting there, well, things are just different. Okay, well, give me an example. Let's talk about this here. But most of the time they don't because they don't have no real reason, no facts. They just feel different. Okay, great. Feeling is there. Okay, what's associated with that feeling? Name it. Angry because you change, upset because you change, resentful because I'm still the same, but you have changed. So you're moving forward where I am not. All right, name this here, name the feeling here. Just don't say I've changed. And that's how you know the difference between someone that really is there, regardless how life changes, and those that kind of just fade away in the darkness, right? They
Hmm.
just go
Yeah.
away.
And that's what we call what do you call that? We call it true friends. Is that what we call
Hmm.
our true friends?
Those are true friends.
Those who stays. And what's true friend? What's a true friend?
True friend. A true friend comes from a level of acceptance,
Hmm.
vulnerability, appreciation, connection, communication. building rapport, there we need them. I mean, the list can keep going on and on. What it looks like as a true friend, because the flip side to that is, we've all have had those. I call them friend of convenience. You only can when it's convenient for you, you come into my life. So
Oh,
when
yeah.
it's not
I've
convenient
had
for you,
friends like that.
I don't see it at all. It's like 6 months later, hey, I'm here. Where have you been for the last 6 months? Like no text, no nothing. You just disappeared. I've had at least a couple of those in my life, and those are just that doesn't work for me. Friend of convenience. Sorry, I don't need that.
Yeah, I've had friends like that, and to these days, once in a while, I'll get something like that from, you know, an old friend like that. I would say, like, you know, a true friendship or a true friend also is someone who would, stand up for you,
Yeah, it's true.
right?
That is so
Um,
true.
yeah, someone who will stand up for you. And I think for me personally, the biggest thing would be love and acceptance.
I
Just
love
loving
that.
each other and accepting each other for who you are. Like you said, we go through changes, right? And I could be I don't know how many times I've changed. There must have been different versions of Gloria's. And I
Certainly.
can't yeah, I'm sure there was, and I can't think of it right now, but I've had friends who stayed with me all through those years and all through the changes. I had the childish Gloria, I've had the party Gloria, I've had the um volleyball is my life, like 6 days a week, 5, 6 days a week kind of Gloria. This is what's important to me. But I've had those friends who stuck with me all through those years and seen the changes.
That's a true friend. Because
Yes, and
despite your changes, they've changed too. You stuck with them.
yes, exactly. And that's how you make, I would say that's how you make the relationship work and keep it stronger and keep it going.
So a friend not only is someone that's there for you, but builds a strong relationship and the bond continues to grow and mature over time.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm trying to think to myself, what's the longest friend I ever had? Actually, I don't know.
And you know what? There's going to be ups and downs, right? There's going to be
Of
some
course.
challenges. Yeah, it's just like in every relationship. We'll have that. It's not going to be perfect. And I would say like all the friends a few friends that I've had that I've known for so many years, I would say like maybe half of my life or more, we've had challenges, we've had our ups and downs and it wasn't perfect, but that's
Hmm.
part of it. That's all part of, the growing and all part of the learning of what a true friend is and what a true love and accepting each other and tolerating each other actually. I have a friend and I met him through volleyball. He is Jose. So, you've probably heard about Jose many, many times. He's, I would say, one of those people that really, truly had tolerated me and the changes that I've gone through.
See?
Patience, had a lot of patience. But I would say that I'm not going to say that I didn't do the same for him.
Nah, I see it goes both ways, right? You're getting there.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like a lot of like learning, like, with different types of people, different personalities, and then the changes. We were once kids, and then as we get older, we change. There's times and days it's like, I don't understand why he acts a certain way that he does, and I'm sure he doesn't understand why I act a certain way that I do. I mean, there would be times where we would not talk for a week or 2 weeks because we were just mad at each other.
Like kids.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. But then you fix that
Certainly you do. You find a
and
way
you can
around it.
talk about it. Right. You find a way around it. You can talk about it. And it's unfortunate that I've noticed with some people now, or like some of the youth that we have nowadays, it's like they don't know how to communicate like that.
Mm, you got that right.
So that's why, there's a lot of why it's hard to find someone. But once you know, you know.
I think what you know in time, you know when you know it's the right thing, and you know when it feels right. That's what I would say. You
Exactly.
know when you
Yeah.
know, because I'm thinking about like your friends I've known and I've seen them, and like man, you have a long term relationships with friends. Me, it, that's how it feels. Like maybe a year or two. Maybe it's me, maybe it's them, right? Maybe I just didn't keep the relationship. Maybe they changed. I mean, my life has changed so much over the last, at least 5 years, let alone 20 years, right? My life has changed so much. And it's, how many friendships have I really established? I mean, I think as I'm getting older, I'm establishing better relationships and communication, learning my skill, right? Because one skill that I lacked probably in the friendship was just the communication. Just,
Hmm.
check it in. Hey, let's hang out. Hey, let's do something together. This just constantly working on a relationship. That's what I think I have lacked, and I want to get better at that. And however, I do also mitigate the ones that are just I want to have meaning, deep connections with relationships and friendships, not just surface level. Surface level, not just someone I
Hmm.
hang out with, like get a drink or we go to dinner or whatever, but it's deeper, meaningful relationships. If it doesn't have that meaning in there, I'm not going to waste my time.
No, yeah. If it doesn't have that and you don't feel that, then no. And you don't have to keep trying to work for it. I mean, it is work at some point, but you don't have to try to keep working if you're not feeling it. And for me, I value a friendship. I value my friends. So those who I have now around me, I value our friendship. And that's why I have like long-term friendships.
And that's why they keep growing. And that's why long
And that's
term.
why they keep growing. Yeah, it's very, I would say, like having friends or having good friends or just whatever friendship that you have right now, if you've had that friendship for a long time and you know that you guys both have that kind of acceptance and that love for each other, it's very important for, I would say, a lot of our, well, it's very important for our mental health and the quality of our life that we live in.
I think it is. And you know what? I'm thinking about right now. I do probably need a friend in my life, right? Someone to talk to, someone to laugh with, someone to joke with, because working from home and being at home all day long, God, yeah, who wants to do all? I have my hobbies too, right? So, I mean,
Hmm.
that's great, but I think I want to have that friendship. I want to build it and communication, the love, the care, the joy. I want to build that, and that's what I'm going to focus on: building better friendships in the future. Man, I hope
Yeah.
you guys out there understand that, friendship can be very difficult and you got to look at your personal values. Like, what do you value in a relationship? What do you value in a friendship? What does a friendship mean? What does a relationship mean? How can you build it? How can you grow from it? What happens if you change, right? These questions go on and on, but it helps you dive deeper into you in order to get what you need and value.
Yeah, you know what? That's so true. I think that, like I said, how important it is. It's an opportunity to love. Having that strong bond or that friendship with someone is an opportunity to love. I would say also to learn about yourself.
Yes, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, for me, in my case, like I said, I've had long-term relationships with, a few people, and you've heard a lot about them. And it's unfortunate that, I've had one that I've valued for so long, but I think that we started seeing things differently. And there's just been some misunderstanding, maybe, and assumptions, right? Um, Communication is very important. And if you don't communicate, it's not going to get anywhere and it's not going to get any better. So, like I said, it's unfortunate we've sort of had a fallout um, recently, but I think it has a lot to do with communicating with each other. But at the same time, you can't force the other if they're not ready or if they don't want to communicate, right?
Certainly true. But
So,
and the other side to this is that you're open. The other person needs to be open for that.
yeah. And you know what? It'll come maybe, right? Only time will tell. But like I said, there's different types of friendships, and you can have a long-term relationship with somebody and not realizing that that long one may end at some point.
It may end.
It may end, and then you have one you just recently just had. Maybe this could be it. So it's not always going to be forever. It'll happen. Things will happen, and I just want to put it out there that this is what life is about. There's going to be challenges and obstacles, and having having this any different type of friendships is what you will learn. I would say you'd probably learn about yourself. You'll mature as a human being, and you will open up more to the full experience of life.
If you're open for experiences, you experience the full experience of life. The question is, you have to be open for something new.
You have to be open. You have to certainly
Mhm.
be open.
Got that right. All right, guys, I want to say thank you and always tuning into the Life's a Shuffle podcast. And as you guys know, go to www.lifesashuffle.podcast and become a special guest and leave your name there. Share your story, right? We always want to have guests on here, talk about their story, where they come from. It creates a more, even though it's a broader dynamic, right? But it brings everybody together as one. And that's the key. Bring people together, share these stories, have these conversations, and learn more and be more curious. So, always, this is
Hmm.
Ron Johnson, your mental health coach and soon to be psychology practitioner. And thank you for listening to another episode of Life's a Shuffle.
Yeah, and before we go, before I end it, I just want to say like one last thing, Ron. I'm truly grateful for crossing paths with you. I mean, I think we've come a long way from just saying hi and bye, and now truly building this, relationship and friendship that we have.
You know what? I will say I second that. I really value our friendship because if it wasn't for you introducing me to IPEC, all right, or for us at least having some communication, I would never be where I am today. So that's huge.
Same, and I think you were a part of the beginning of this for me. I don't know if you remember, I would go back and forth with you. I know I want to be somebody. I want to be something. I don't. It's not being a therapist. It's something else. And
See?
yeah, and then becoming that life coach. And I think both you and I have been a part of this from the very beginning, and we've seen each other through all the changes that we've gone through in the past several years. And I think this had we've built that strong bond and that friendship that we have now and we continue to have. And now look where we are, the podcast.
Things have certainly changed, right? And
Yes,
grown.
so yeah, exactly. So I am, yes, I'm truly grateful, and thank you for just being there for me and having the patience, just having patience with me sometimes, and for supporting me and believing in me.
Oh,
Thank
of
you.
course. Thank
Yes,
you
and
too.
yeah, and again, guys, that's what you call a friendship, true friends, having that love and acceptance with each other. And thank you again for listening to another episode of Life's Shuffle. This is Gloria, life coach and your meditation coach.